Hello, guys. How are you? All right, so hopefully my microphone is working. But hopefully some of you guys pop on. I know I'm going live early here and there just because I get so tired, guys. It's not even funny. Things are so crazy right now. It's nuts, okay? Um, really nuts. So, I have so many parents, and I get it, just going through a really hard time right now and realizing how difficult things are going to be because I guess school systems are starting to kind of tell everybody how things are going to go. So, if you guys hear my dogs, I apologize in advance. I have to take my pup to the vet in just a little bit. So, hi guys, how are you? Okay, so I took a little breather. I went away for my birthday. That was super fun. We went to the river, which was so nice, and I needed a brain break. So that was nice. I tried to turn things down for a little bit. Talked to a couple parents because a couple emergencies popped up, but it was good. It was good. Okay. So I want to talk to you guys about a couple things. I kind of said that I was going to leave COVID alone. Oh, wait, hold up. I guess I need to introduce myself to some of you, right? So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Raven Woods. I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks, the IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. And typically they do after I get a hold of them, and they're much, much more confident. And that is one thing that I love. I know it's great having the support of an advocate that knows what they're doing. Okay, so if you hire an advocate, and it doesn't need to be me, they need to know what they're doing. I think that it's a great support system, but at the same time, it gives you a lot of knowledge of kind of how things transpire. Even if, I know with certain things, I've been at the point where, okay, yeah, I know how to do that, but I don't really want to. You know what I mean? So I totally get all that. So with that said, if you are new to watching me live, that is 1 through 3. So your first through third time, post a 1 below. If you are an oldie but goodie, of course, post a 2 below and say hello, okay? This is the page, so it's a little bit more, obviously it's more public, but the group, which is Autism Mama Rocks, the IEP group, you can put that in the search bar, that is different. It is separate. It is more private. It's actually a private group. I have to accept you into the group. Do I accept teachers into the group? Yes, I do. I actually love accepting teachers into the group. And I love, especially when teachers say, I want to learn more so that I can help parents. So I find that very enlightening. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And we need to support that as mamas. So with that said, I know I said that I was going to stay away from COVID, but that's kind of hard, y'all. I tried with, I always try to get my content together before I come on with y'all. Sometimes I kind of ad-lib it just because I know my stuff, but, I like to be prepared. That's just who I am. I'm very OCD like that. But I want to go through a couple things with you, which you can associate with COVID, but it's something that you need to know, period. And that you can do across the board. All right. So hello, Michelle and Donna and Tara. Gosh, Tara, it's been so long since we've talked. Cynthia, thank you. I'm so glad my mic's fine. It like turned off on me or something because I have this great big huge Yeti mic and sometimes it's all funky. Jessica, hello. Yolanda and Lori and Denise, Donna. Wow, haven't seen you in a while. Hello. And is it Oslem? Welcome. And Jessica says, I would have to move just to get an advocate since I can't even get one here where I live, and I'm number 2 also. Oh, you don't have to have an advocate in your area. Now that things are virtual, you don't have to, you never have to have one really. I actually love having IEP meetings online, just to FYI. So have them online, and actually it helps a lot of parents kind of, deflate that anxiety of sitting across the table where you're actually online in your own home. You could actually have your pajama pants on and then like a shirt, which is what I do most of the time. Half the time I'm online with y'all, I got my like pajama pants on and then a shirt. Yes, I do. And so, you can just be comfortable in your own home, and, you can have your papers all over, and parents, believe it or not, have the option to choose, and you don't have to be there in person. And I actually, especially since COVID, have really decided, and a lot of my parents have as well, that that's just how we're going to do it across the board now. So the reasons we'll go into the school is if our kids are sick, if we're doing an observation and stuff like that. But as far as going into the school, it automatically will create that anxiety if you're having IEPs there, plus you're going to see your kids there. So take away that anxiety, allow it to be a pleasant experience when you go see your child, but then have your IEPs at home where you're more comfortable. Yes. Is it the same across the states? I'm in California. Is what the same, Oslem? And yes, I actually have seven of my clients are in California. California is the worst state ever. Ever. Okay, I'm announcing that. California is like this. Okay, they're horrible. Horrible in all aspects of education. Horrible. Don't move to California unless you already live there. They're horrible. Horrible. And they actually just let out a announcement today in regards to things via COVID, which is just stupid. But we'll talk about that later, okay? So Oslem, if you're talking about an advocate, you can hire an advocate anywhere. Like I said, I have 7 clients in California. So I think I've dealt with every school system now. They love me. Okay, so here we go. We're going to talk about what you need to do just in general, okay? With your IEPs, with your kids. Yes, with your kids, with everything pertaining to what you do to prepare, okay? I've always said record your kids. I've always said if it's not in writing, it never happened. During COVID, obviously, recording, if it wasn't recorded, it really kind of never happened because you don't have proof. You're welcome, Jessica. And and actually, Jessica, I don't have any clients in nope, I do. I have 1 client in my state of Virginia. Yeah, 1. Maybe 2? 1. No, 1. 1 in the state of Virginia. So don't think that they have to be in, as long as they're good, okay? So I want you guys to do a couple things for me. Yes, advocate, and I meant standard laws and regulations. Okay, so just real quick, Oslem, just before I get started with content, yes, and that's why I said they have to be good, okay? So a good advocate knows their stuff. Watch them for a little bit. See if they know their stuff. Like I've had, I think, 3 or 4 pretty big state complaints. Just recently, I actually have to go over with you. I'm going to be doing that on Sunday. So Cynthia is one of my clients. Actually, I have a couple clients on here right now, Oslem, but I have a bunch of different clients all over the place, but California is actually the number 1. And that's how I know they're horrible. But one thing you need to know about advocates is you want to make sure they know their stuff. So make sure you watch them. Make sure they have success stories and people that, you're always going to have like your ups and downs, but you want people to know that they are good people with the education system, meaning that they know their stuff, they know their laws, they know their statutes, and yes, each state is different. So that person needs to be familiar and have access to various different things within your state. Okay, so a good advocate knows how to do that. I have COPA, and then I know California law by the back of my hand just by having experience there. New York, I just won a huge case and state complaint and a systematic one as well, which was with multiple parents. So my 3rd one is getting ready to come up in New York. And the one that I'm going to be going over in New York on Sunday with you guys, I'm actually going to share my screen of an email that the parents sent to me so that I could see the complaint that I wrote and what the outcome was. And so you guys would be able to see on Sunday what the complaints were and then what the results were, what the state said. Okay. And then you'll know what the school system was ordered to do. All right. So I wrote 3 complaints for this person. This was my last state complaint, my second to last. And All three were founded, and I don't live in New York. So hopefully that helps you. But idea is idea, and that's federal law, and that's the same across the board. So as long as the person knows California law or wherever your state is, then they're good to go. Okay. And then you need to figure out what kind of advocate you want, Özlem. So I'll be very honest with you. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'll be the first to say that. All right. I am very aggressive. I'm very to the point. I don't bullshit. Once I get hold of those emails for a parent, I go straight for the jugular. I don't play around. I'm not rude, but I'm very to the point where bam, they know I'm in play at that point. And I have certain things I request in my first email that they're just like, holy hell, what the hell just happened? And I want them in that place, to be quite honest. So if they're watching or anybody's watching, I do that on purpose. I do that on purpose because I don't play. And sometimes it turns around where it's kind of like sometimes with kids, it's that tough love, tough love, tough love. And then you don't really have to do that anymore because they know the rules, you know? And so I do that with the school systems. And unfortunately, you can't just be normal and just be nice because they don't seem to like to listen to us and to parents. So I go after them with facts. Okay. So when I talk to the school system, I go after them with facts. I'm requesting the whole scholastic record, including the data. I'm going after, and that's with per a FERPA request. So I count my 45 days from then forward. And then I'm requesting IEP meetings. I'm requesting all kinds of different types of data, and I'm requesting evaluations that they normally don't always give. And then we move from there. And, you know, a lot of times school systems will do a total 180 where they went from not even talking to the parent to all of a sudden being sweet and nice, you know? So it's kind of funny how things are different for different places. I've had other school systems where they're nasty and then we get to the IEP meeting and then they're all of a sudden nice. I've had ones that fought me the whole time through the IEP meeting, and we sat there and argued for 45 minutes, and then they decided that I wasn't going to give up, and we had an IEP meeting. So, you know, everything's different, and you just have to go with it and know that, you know, one way or the other, it's going to work out. And so you just need to make sure that your advocate knows how the system works, and hopefully that helps you, Özlem. And then you have your calm and nice and very... gosh, one of my friends is like this in Texas, and we have different personalities where I'm very to the point, no bullshit, here you go, this is what's going on, we need to get this done, we need to make sure that this happens, this child needs this, that, and the other, and that's it. And where she's more calm and, you know, it's okay if things kind of lag a little bit, but she gets things done too, just not as quick. And I'm sure she'll be okay with me saying that because she's not the kind of person like that. Where me, I'm like, oh, no, we got to get this done. This child needs these goals now. This needs to happen. The parents don't have all day, you know, and that sort of thing. So you just have to go with what works for you. Okay. And, you know, it also matters too with how long have you been fighting the school system, and has anything happened? Has anything changed? Is there something going on different with your child, or your child's not progressing and the school hasn't suggested something different? So there's a lot of different things, and things go into it to where I know, okay, I need to approach it this way, or I need to approach it that way. And that just comes with a lot of discussion with the parent. Okay? All right, so we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about facts, violations, and resolution. All right? So... and this is something, if you keep it in mind and you learn the system, you will understand that if you play this correctly, you will be prepared for most things. All right. So when you prepare for an IEP, I always tell people, you know, you need to look at it like you're preparing for court. All right. I don't know if you've been to court, general district court, whatever, but you want to plan it where you plan it weeks ahead of time. I always do it weeks ahead of time. I make sure I have all my evaluations and all my data and all my records, and at least within the last, year. And then once you have all your records, then all you're doing is asking for the last quarter or whatever. Okay. Because you should always receive data with your progress reports. Progress reports are due every time report cards go out. All right. That's going to be the same thing with COVID. That's not going to change. That's part of the law of IDEA, and that's not going to change. All right. Doesn't matter what state that you're in. All right. So you want to first write down everything you know about what's going on. All right. So you're preparing for court. You're doing this weeks ahead of time. You're writing everything down. Something's not working maybe, or something needs to change. All right. So it doesn't have to always be a bad thing. It could be just something needs to change, or goals need to be changed up. Okay. So if you're preparing, okay, it kind of goes with my PPPN system. You plan and prepare the right way. Okay. If you do that, you'll be able to persuade the IEP team. Okay. And to be able to persuade them in the right way, you have to be able to present in the right way. Okay. And presenting in the right way comes with practice, and it comes with planning and preparing in the right way. So the PPPN is plan and prepare, present, persuade, and negotiate. So when you do that, all right, and that's trademarks, can't take it. All right. So when you do that, all right, you're writing everything down that the school's either doing wrong or that you need added because something's not working. And that can go for right now during COVID, where you're home and you're doing all the stuff, or it can be if your child's in school and you know something's not working, or you get a progress report and you know the progress report is just not right. Something's not right about it. Your gut's telling you like something is not working, or you've asked for data over and over and over and they're not giving it to you. So you're writing down everything that is bothering you. You're writing down everything that's going wrong, what the school's doing wrong, what may or may not have been given to you, whatever the case may be. So when you do this, you're getting your data together, you're getting everything prepared, you're planning in the right way. When you're doing that, you're getting everything together to what? To then write everything down. When you're writing everything down and stating all the facts of what you're doing, you're gathering the facts. Okay, so you're planning and preparing, you're gathering the facts by writing everything down, okay, of what's going on, what needs changed, what the problem is, conflict, etc. And then as you write down the facts, you next want to write down what do you have to back those facts up. That's what I call objective data. Objective data. Okay, I think I called it objective. Objective data, okay? There's subjective data, which is yours and my opinions and our gut of what is best for our children. And we're always right. Always. But I had a parent today tell me that she knew everything that was going on, and she keeps telling the school that this is what's going on, and they're not listening to her. And that she has proof to show that what she is saying is factual. She has proof to show that if they do this, that this is going to happen. And it didn't work. So you want to make sure that your facts are straight, meaning you got something to back it up. Let me give you an example. So, real quick, guys, share, and share. All right. So we're starting kind of a new month. I know it's not the end of the month until tomorrow, but we're starting a new month for gifts and stuff to be put out. We're doing it over on the group, but I'm taking names who share here and putting them into the basket for August giveaways. So if you want to share, post share below, and I will give you a shout out, and then you will also go into the basket. All right. And if you're just hopping on, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time, and a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Okay. So you have all your facts. Okay. You have everything that you need to back up your facts. Now, for example, I'll give you an example of one of my parents. Okay. So she recently just found in her data that she's received, which comes from, and you should ask for this, and well, I ask for this as well when I am requesting records. So if your child has services, it's called a service log. Okay, so OT, PT, speech, dance therapy, music therapy, whatever. Okay, they have what's called a log. All right. So in that log, various things can be put in, but typically as well is when they give service and when they don't, if they're sick or not, etc. So you'll find out really quick, okay, as this parent did, holy Batman, my child has not received speech for 6 months. What the heck happened? I thought my child was receiving speech and they haven't been receiving speech for 6 months. Let's just say 6 months, okay? You'll find that out on the log, and you can ask for that in your records request, which a lot of people did not know was part of your child's records. Another thing, when you request records, just to FYI, schools like to say, when you say, hey, can I have I don't know if you've ever done this, but if you say, hey, can I have a copy of the test that you gave my child, meaning like if you get a psychoeducational or the Welch's 5 or whatever it is test, and, you know, an OT test or whatever. So these tests are given and from a company. The company provides the OT or the psychologist what it is that they need, you know, to provide the test. All right, there's a company who provides this test, and then the specialist gives the test. All right, so if you ask for that test, not the results that they give you, all right, but the test itself to see how your child scored. Okay, so you have the score, but okay, well, where did that score come from? So if you're anything like me, you're not just looking at the score, you're looking at where did the score come from? How was it measured? How did they come up with that score? Is that score my child's individual score, or is that score a score compared to other children within that grade level? Multiple children. Sometimes it's across the United States. So you want to know if your child is being measured individually, and you want to know if your child is being measured amongst other children within their grade, okay? Or it could be amongst other children in elementary school, okay, if they're in elementary school, or other children in high school. So you want to know the difference. And if you care about both, that's good. If you only care about their individual, that's fine too. That's all I care about. I don't compare my child to other children. So I like to know, where is she? That's all I care about. Where is she? And I'll say, where is she compared to other children her age, but I don't care what that score is. Do you know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying here is, if you ask for that, a lot of times the school will come back and say, we can't provide that because it's copyrighted. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm here and I'm going to tell you that is not true. You can tell them that Raven Woods told you that that is not true. And if they want proof, to go check it out on FERPA. Because FERPA states that parents have the right to the test that was given to their child so that they can compare the score to what was given to them. Okay? So if they say, that's copyrighted, we can't give that out, you can say, no, that is not true. You absolutely can give that out. And if you don't, then I'm contacting FERPA, because that is taking away my rights as a parent to see what my child did and how they scored. Okay? And then when you go into an evaluation meeting, or just to discuss the meeting, or it could be a reevaluation meeting to see if your child qualifies again, then you have the accurate data to then participate as an adequate member of the IEP team. And guess what? If you can't participate as an adequate member of the IEP team, the school is creating and literally procedurally violating your rights. It is a procedural violation, which is more that holds more stance, substance, whatever, compared to a substantive violation, okay? But substantive violations, say you have 5 of those, a bunch of substantive violations can equal a procedural violation. But the more procedural violations you have, especially with going into a mediation or a due process, or even an OCR complaint, the better. But again, a bunch of substantial violations equal 2. All right. So we covered that you need to write everything down. All right. You need to prepare as if you're going to court. You want to get all your ducks in a row. You want to get all your paperwork. So for example, you'll get your 2-3 years worth of IEPs. And when I say get your IEPs together, I don't mean just get them together. All right. When I get data and documents together, I get the 3, let's just say 2 IEPs. I get the 2 IEPs, so it would be 2019-20 and 2020-21, or 2018-19 and 19-20, okay? Then I look at them page by page, okay? Because typically they're not going to be that different, or you better run for the hills. But you want to look at, okay, page 1, what is the same? What is different? Okay, page 2, what is the same? What is different? All right, and keep going. Now look at your present levels. What's the difference? Were they copied and pasted, or are they different? Look at your child's goals. Were they copied and pasted, or are they different? And if they're different, how are they different? Is it that they mastered a goal before that and new goals were put in and they're good? Or is it that they were just copied and pasted and maybe a word or two tweaked to kind of trick your brain, which happens all the time? I am a victim. And you want to really be able to see that. You want to get to the point where it just pops out at you. You're like, huh, that is not cool. All right. And so next, so you got your facts, you got your objective data, right? All right. Then what you're going to do is you're going to write down what is going wrong. All right. So you're going to first write down everything you know about what is going wrong. Everything you know about, listen to the wording, you know what's going wrong. All right. You're going to prepare like you're preparing for court. Then you're going to, and what you're doing is what you're knowing is going wrong is those are facts. All right. And then next you're going to write down the evidence and the proof, which are objective data. All right. And next you're going to write down what is going wrong. All right. What are they doing wrong? Is their goals wrong? Is goals not being written? Is progress not happening? Is data not being provided? Is service not being done right? Is service not being provided? Whatever it is. Okay. And then what that is you're stating in writing for yourself the violations. Okay. So there you go. You have your facts and your violations. All right. Last, you're going to write everything you possibly can, kind of putting it all together. All right. So when you're writing down in the beginning and you're planning and all that kind of stuff, and you're getting everything together and you're stating facts, etc., that's kind of your rough draft. All right. And then you're kind of summing it up with what is going on now and backing it up with that objective data. And that is stating the violations. All right. So now we're getting into the real copy. Okay. And then you're going to lastly write down everything that is compacted together. You're going to kind of make it flow. And when I say make it flow, I like things to tell a story. Okay, this is where we started. This is kind of where it got. This is where it is now. Okay, the more dates, times, and accuracies you have, the better. Okay, and then once you write down that what is going on for real, like what is going on, not just what you know, but you're writing down everything that's going on. Once you do that, you need to write down what it is that needs to change to make you happy, to make it better, to rectify the situation, etc., etc. Okay, so now you're putting it all together. You're kind of gathering your facts. You got your violations. then you're getting your resolution together as to what it is that you want to resolve the matter. Okay? Rectification. All right? Just to give an example of resolution. All right? A resolution could be compensatory services based off no progress, compensatory service based off regression, whatever it is. Okay? Someone said to me today, I was on calls all day today, and they said to me, I don't get it. I have everything written down. It doesn't make sense. Why aren't they staying on top of this? You have to know what you want, and you have to be able to be clear with what you want. And, one of the ladies was saying, I don't get it. I have everything together. I'm supposed to get ESY. They keep telling me no and denying me and denying me and denying me. And they're not giving me exact reason on the PWN. They're giving me a PWN, but they're not giving me the exact why of why they're denying and refusing this service to my child that my child needs. And they keep saying that my child's not regressing. My child's not regressing. And I said, I don't care if they're regressing or not. What does that have to do with ESY? That's just one of many reasons. All right. And I said, ESY can be given for the simple reason that your child is not on grade level. Okay. So your child could be in 5th grade and on a 3rd grade level and get ESY because they're not on grade level. What do you mean you can't get ESY because of regression? What does regression have to do with the whole picture of ESY? Regression is just one entity of why ESY is given, but it is not, and that's what school systems are doing nowadays, is just throwing, your child's not regressing, your child's not regressing. Oh, your child's is making good grades. Your child has A's and B's. Okay, tell me something that I don't know. What does that have to do with my child's making good grades on a 3rd grade level when he's in 5th grade? So let's have him make good grades on a 5th grade level. So let's give him ESY so that he can get to that 5th grade level and maybe make C's on the 5th grade level instead of the A's on the 3rd grade level. ESY could possibly happen, and ESY could possibly help them. And I'm just talking to them, not you. It's kind of like, what? You don't make sense. And it's okay, guys, to say that. You don't make sense. All right? I've called school districts out when they've said that, and I said, I find this interesting. Okay? I want you to enlighten, this is what I said. I said, I want you to enlighten me with something. Can you do that? The director of special ed said, sure. I said, okay. So you're telling me that this child can't have ESY. Is that right? She said, yes. I said, so this child can't have ESY. Why? Well, he's not regressing, ma'am, and we cannot give ESY to a child who is not regressing. And he's shown that he can make progress. He's shown that he can make good grades. And because he's not regressing, we have to give ESY to children who need it. As pissed as I was, I said, okay, real quick, how old is this child? She said, he's 13. I said, okay. And what grade level is he getting A's on? What grade level is he doing work on that he's doing so well in? 3rd grade. I said, okay. I said, you have your master's, right? In what? She said, in education. I used to be a teacher. I said, that's awesome. Me too. And mine's in educational leadership. So I actually train teachers, and I've had a lot of experience with that. I used to teach online college. And she said, that's awesome. I said, yeah, that's awesome that you do that. I said, so you're educated, right? She said, yes. I said, so for an educated person, you're telling me that a child that is 13 on a 3rd grade level, that is getting good grades on a 3rd grade level, should not have ESY. I'm just wanting your educated decision, your educated thoughts on that, because I'm not following you. And she didn't talk. And I said, because I used her degree, I used her knowledge and experience and brain, and said, is that what you're saying to me? With your educational background? She didn't say anything. So I said, my point exactly. We have a child in third grade, basically, who is 13. And you're saying no to a service that could take this child from third grade to maybe, let's just say, fifth grade. Even though he's 13, with ESY and having that each year, you can have 2-year jumps, believe it or not, with it keeping up. And ESY can also be done during Christmas breaks, believe it or not. There's like a lot of teachers who will offer to do that and they get paid extra. All right. And so I finally said to her, I said, if we're now on the same page, this child needs to get ESY right now. And on top of that, we need to make up last year because you said no last year for the same reason. Isn't that right? She said, yes. I said, so let's just solve this problem because I really don't want to go to mediation or due process. Please save me the work. She looked at me like I was nuts when I said, please save me the work. And she said, look, this is what I'll do. As if she was doing me a favor. She said, well, this is what I'll do. We'll give him, 4 hours of ESY each day through the summer for, I think it was like 5 weeks or something. I said, no, that's not good enough. I said, I don't care what the school system does as far as ESY, and they only do it for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever. I said, this child needs it all summer. I said, he needs to start it the Monday after school ends and end it the Friday before school starts. Because that's what you owe him, since you denied it to him last year. And he needed it because last year he was on a second grade level. She was pissed. But she knew I had her. She knew I was recording. And what else was she going to say? The other thing, guys, is, and that was the conversation, for real, okay? What you need to know, too, with ESY, just so you guys have this knowledge and can do this later, because you're going to talk about it this coming year. I mean, fight for it, guys. Is ask them. Say, okay, if they just bring up the regression thing, because that's what schools will throw at you. I mean, because a lot of parents don't know any better. I sure as hell didn't, and I fell for it for years. And so that's what they throw at you, because until a parent calls them out, they're going to keep throwing that one because they know that one makes the most sense. And I fell for it, and I'm not dumb. You probably fell for it here and there, and you're not dumb. So it's not about if you're smart or not. It's about, hey, that does make sense. Oh, okay, my child didn't regress, so okay, other children do deserve it. No, your child deserves it too. And the thing is they don't have to regress. It could be as simple as your child is, say they're on grade level, but when they have missed time, like Christmas and whatever, and I'll get to y'all's questions in a second, I promise. I'm not ignoring y'all. It could be where their behavior spikes, and their behavior becomes really a lot of behaviors start with a frustrational level, sensory based, etc. And a child could become frustrated, or they don't like transition of change. And so behavior could be a simple reason for ESY, a big reason actually, because behavior impedes education. So ESY needs to be given so that child's education, when they start back in school where they're learning more and more and more, that behavior does not impede the ongoing education and hold that child back even more. Another reason is your child could be behind a little bit, not even a lot, but that it's because ESY is not to get your child, give your child new information, but it is for your child to get back information because they're behind. All right. But it also could be to get them to maintain so they don't lose, which is not always regression. It's just they lost the information and then they usually get it back pretty quickly once school starts. But just for the simple fact that they did that is a worry. All right. Regression is a total loss. Okay. To lose something and then get it back within the first month of school is not typically called regression. It could be, but is not typically, because a lot of kids, can lose something for a hot minute and then, think about you and I when we learn something, we could kind of lose it, or we haven't done division in forever and we're helping our kids again. It takes us a minute for it to kind of snap back. Same thing. So, sometimes that's not called regression. So just keep those things in mind and make sure you ask them and say, okay, so my child hasn't regressed, if they come up with that scenario. But how do you know? Because you haven't ever given my child ESY. So my child hasn't regressed, but you've never given my child ESY. So how do you know? And I've even gone to the extent of saying, and if my child does regress and you don't give my child ESY, I will hold you to it and it will be solely your fault. And I'll say the person's name, and I am mad because that is not okay. And you will be responsible for my child regressing. You can't say no if you don't know it works. If it works, okay? So many educators are saying no, 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 because they're trained to say no, and they won't say yes for the simple fact to try to see if that service, accommodation, modification, change of goal, ESY, etc. works. How do you know if something's going to get better if you don't change things up and play with it to see what works? And what kills me too is the fact that educators are supposed to be the ones, this is a procedural violation too, of them not suggesting to you when a child's not progressing, when a child, say your child was diagnosed with something different, whatever the case may be, all right? And they don't suggest anything to change it. Or you had an evaluation meeting, and that could be a reevaluation, that could be an IEE, which is really a reevaluation just privately, and it could be a evaluation that is saying they're either qualified or not qualified for special ed. All right, and those evaluations are crucial. If the school system, typically they will if your child is just now qualifying for special ed, but if your child's been in special ed, your child has an IEE, whatever, and say they don't get together with you and discuss that IEE or evaluation or whatever, that is a violation, okay? Because the whole point of an evaluation is to see where that child is, where there's a deficit, where there's a strength. That information needs to go into your present levels. So if you've had an evaluation of any sort, I don't care if it was an IEE or a evaluation from the school, that evaluation sure as heck better be in your IEP. It better be in your IEP, okay? That evaluation and all the results should be in your present levels. Goals should then be written based off your present levels, which are what those evaluations state. And that is where your child is right now. So those of you who have recently, during COVID possibly, had IEEs or went out on your own and did IEEs, or, just right before school ended, you had evaluations. Those better be in your IEPs. That better be in your present levels, and new goals better be created off of them. And off of what you, the parent, or whoever's worked with your child since COVID, have observed. If your child's regressed, that's you. You are the only person right now who holds the data. The only person. The school cannot claim that right now. They cannot claim that they know XYZ when they don't right now at all. So they have to go by what you say. They have to. And if they don't listen to you, they're violating your rights. And if they don't make changes to the IEP based off what is going on right now, what has changed in your child right now, I don't give two craps what they said your child did 6 months ago. I don't care. You tell them you don't care. This is what your child is doing right now. And that's why recording is so important right now. And that is why writing everything down still is so important right now. Okay? So make sure you do that. Make sure that you're always focused on keeping prepared. You don't want to let things go to the point where an IEP or something's coming up or something really went to crap and you're like, oh my God, I got to do a state complaint. And you got to remember those statutes of limitations and the time frames in which you can do things. You only have 1 year to make a state complaint. And guys, state complaints are so important. They really are. Number one, they document that this is what went wrong. And guess what? If it happens again, they have a history now. There's a paper trail. Because guess what? Being friends with them, I'm not saying enemies. I'm not saying not get along. I'm saying don't try to be friends and not make state complaints. Hold them accountable because later you're going to need that paper trail. You're going to need it. And you're going to kick yourself in the butt for not having that paper trail. Okay? You need to have the paper trail. You got to have the paper trail. Okay? You guys got to tell me to stop doing this with the pen. I'm like so big on doing this. It's like habit. All right. So we covered that. So you want to make sure you get your facts together, which is preparing. You want to make sure that you write everything down and have the proof of how you're going to back up the things that are going on, which is creating your violations. And then you want to write down what it is that the school needs to stop doing and what would rectify it in your opinion, which is the resolution. All right. And you want to do that in all scenarios, not just with a complaint. You want to do that across the board. If things are not going right, you didn't receive a progress report, you want to create this paper trail of facts. And you yourself, without even making a state complaint, if there isn't one, when you're just documenting things that are happening, you can simply do this and you have a paper trail via email of what's going on, what the facts are, what they're doing to do wrong by your child, if you will, and not providing them and their unique individual needs what is appropriate. And you want to make sure that you point out to them the evidence in which you have, your proof, your objective data, and how this needs to be rectified and what your expectation is, the resolution, of what rectification looks like for you. Okay? And then, of course, you discuss it. Create a win-win. It's not always going to be one way. Sometimes it is. But you want to make sure that the win is for your child. Okay? So that's it for today in regards to just a little tip of content, if you will, of how to prepare always, not just when something goes wrong. Always prepare. And be prepared. That you never want something to go down and you have no data, you haven't collected data, you haven't requested records in 2 years, and then things are going down and now you're all of a sudden, having to deal with this. You just don't want to do that. All right? So you want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. All right. Look, my mouse just died, y'all. So I can't move anything. All right. So hopefully it's like charging. I think it's charging. So you want to make sure that you have it all together. Okay. So I'm going to answer some questions now, but I can't scroll, so I can't see nothing. Hold on. Let me see if it... Okay, worked for a second. Hold on. Let me scroll real quick, and then I'll plug it back in. All right. Okay, so Jessica, I would have to move to... Okay, so I read that. All right, let me plug it really quick. All right. All right, so Jessica says, New York was hell for us, too. That's why I moved out of there because of that too. New York is the worst too. Yeah, New York's bad. New York would probably take number 2 from um, California. Ashley says Paula C. What does that mean? That kind of sounds funny. Policy. But you said 2 separate words. Paula and then C. Okay, yeah, I'm stupid. I had to make fun of that really quick. It's kind of funny. All right, so hi, Tony. How are you? Hi, Cynthia. Jody says, my advocate couldn't make it to the first IEP meeting and I didn't know what I was doing, so I brought my friend dressed in a business suit with a legal pad and pen. I didn't introduce her at all. She wrote on her legal pad and made noises when the principal said they weren't prepared to do something. She got up abruptly during the meeting. And whispered in my ear, and she would contact me later after she left. They put everything that I'd asked for in his IEP. They thought she was from the state, Ohio Coalition of Autism and Low Incidence. She is a cashier at a local grocery. I never had another problem with them not following the IEP. Very cool. Okay. Cynthia says, you're my hero. Jessica, LOL, love this. Tony says, so filing a complaint for the district refusing to provide data, progress monitoring, and refusing to include goals in a general education room is warranted. Jessica says, exactly, my son is not grade level either. He is a few years behind his age. Yes, very true. What if your child was higher than his level, but they regressed him to mainstream? What do you mean by that? What do you mean regressed him to main? I don't understand that. You'll have to repeat that because I don't understand what that means. Yolanda says, so my son has ESY, but of course with COVID distance learning does not work for him. He's 5 and nonverbal, so maybe we can ask for ESY all summer long next year to make up. What do you think? You can also make it up during the school year, so why wait a whole year to make this year up? That would be my question, Yolanda. Jessica says, our school wanted to give my son summer program this year, only 3 hours for line 3 days a week. I didn't think that was enough, to be honest. Right. I'd have taken it, but then I would have fought it. You never not want to take it, okay? But you can fight it. Hi, Faye. How are you? Jessica says, and for them to say all kids stop regressing is ridiculous. All kids regress, in my opinion, no matter how far ahead they get. Don't let them tell you they are no longer regressing. I don't agree with that, Jessica. With all due respect, many kids don't regress. So it's not true that children don't stop regressing. Some children regress, some children don't, but that doesn't mean that they don't qualify for ESY or compensatory or whatever. But for it to be said just generally that all kids regress, as you said here, is not true, because all children don't regress. Using words like all, always, and never is a no-no, because that's never true. And that's one reason you can say never, and you can say never too. It's never is something that's just impossible. Always is something that's just impossible. You know, those are just 2 words that should not be ever spoken in an IEP meeting. All right. Jessica says, if an evaluation states that my child does not meet TEA criteria for autism and she is medically diagnosed with autism, what can I do as a parent? They have to document that your child's been diagnosed medically with autism. Okay. Lori shared, thank you. Yolanda says, and how can I add that in the IEP to make up the ESY time? That's called compensatory services, and compensatory services are done when your child has any of the reasons actually that ESY is given. So regressed is one of them, not made any progress, stayed the same, they're behind in their grade level, so on and so forth. Behavior, compensatory services can be then given. Or if speech is not given for 2 weeks, or the speech therapist or your therapist, really, if they're absent, they have to make up that time. So if you have had speech therapists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, etc., and they've never made up the time if they've been sick, which is why you want those logs, then that is not abiding by the IEP with fidelity, and abiding by the IEP as it is written. That's a violation of the IEP. Okay. Yes, they can be sick, but yes, they have to make it up. Cynthia says, be prepared for schools to offer after-school tutoring this year. CARES Act gave funds to school districts that has to be used after school hours. Yes, tutoring can happen if it's offered to all children. It cannot just be offered to special needs children. Jessica Marie says, okay, the school have copies of her medical records. They shouldn't. And if you gave them her medical records, that's a big no-no. Okay? So they shouldn't. You should have medical records. The doctor should have medical records. The school should not have medical records. Okay? The school should have knowledge that your child was diagnosed with XYZ. They can see the paperwork that says your child was medically diagnosed with XYZ. Should they have a copy of it? No way. All right. They'll tell you, oh, we need a copy. We have to have a copy for our records. We do. We have to have it. And you say, no, you don't. But you can see, here you go. Here's the paper. See, it says diagnosed with by Dr. So-and-so. Write it down. Write it down that my child was diagnosed by Dr. So-and-so. Put it in parent comments. Stick it in the IEP. And state that my child was medically diagnosed on February 1st, 2019 with XYZ. That's it. They do not need a copy. Too much personal information in medical records. So, yeah. All right, guys. So that's it. I'm late for my vet appointment with my pup. So, you guys have a good evening. Hopefully you got a lot out of this today. No way. No. And I teach people that in my big course, Rock the IEP. That is a big no. No, and no. So I will talk to you guys soon. PM below if you have any questions. PM me if you have any questions as well. If you have not grabbed my services, accommodations, and modifications mini course, you need it, especially going into this year so that you can make sure that your child receives FAPE. Highly unlikely, but we're hoping that they can pull this off, and we'll go from there and we'll talk about it and figure out what needs to happen as we move forward with the school year that may not be a nightmare. So we'll see. Let's cross our fingers. All right. So it was required at admission. We live in Texas. Nope. My dad lives in Dallas. My brother's in Austin. It is not required. The only thing you have to give the school system when you register is your child's immunization record and their physical. That's it. You do not have to give any other medical record, not their diagnosis, because typically a pediatrician can't diagnose those things. And, the immunization record is just simply that. And the physical is very basic information. It's not your child's history medically. Okay. So those are the only things that the school system has to have. Okay. And I graduated, or I went to Plano Senior High School. So I know Texas law. Mary says I gave them a copy because they asked me for it. I didn't know that I didn't have to. Why they ask for something they shouldn't have all the time, because they can eventually Well, unfortunately, I've seen them use it against you. Okay, thank you. I usually know what I know. If you disagree or not, everything is different for regressing from what I see. Just letting you. Yeah, it's fine, Jessica. It's just not good to say that all kids regress because not all kids regress. And especially like, for example, children who, for example, yeah, that's, that they're, yeah, that's a big thing, Cynthia, lately, actually. And there's only some states that require dental records. Not a lot. I think it's like 8, 9, something like that. Not all states. My state's not one of them, that's for sure. So, yes. So, no, Jessica, all kids don't regress. It's important to know that actually some kids after years of ESY or, different therapies actually improve or stay the same, and things do get better. Kids do get, better and grow and do progress. It's not always a progression type thing of things that can go haywire. So that's just kind of how it is. But not all kids regress. So, and that's not 100% the reason why kids get ESY either. So it's just one of the reasons. So, not all kids progress at the same pace as everybody else, but not every person regresses. All right, guys. So post below if you have any questions. Post a 1 below if you're new, first through third time. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Make sure you share, post that you shared, and you'll go into the basket to win the month's gift. And they're good gifts, so I think you would like them. And it's fun. It's fun. Plus, it gets information out there to other people that may not know about this page. And if you want to join the group, it's Autism Mama Rocks the IEP group. Just put it into the search bar and I will accept you into the group, okay? But don't worry, things are going to be fine. I'm not going to talk about COVID too much. You can PM me, Jessica. It's just important to know that you got to stay on top of things. You got to stay on top of what's important. And, it's where I did wrong. So those of you who don't know my story, I went through 6.5 years of hell where I felt horrible that I didn't know any better. And guess who suffered? My daughter. And it wasn't because I wanted her to suffer. It was because I didn't know. I really didn't. And that's what drove me to, and that's even being a teacher, guys. And, that goes to show that a lot of my teachers on here who have children with special needs, they need help too, This isn't something, it's kind of like when you have a child, there's no manual to say, hey, this is how you be a mom, It's kind of like with IEPs. There's no like book that, you got those Right Law books, which are great, but a lot of them are older. And, he lives only an hour from me, and I love his stuff, and he's great, and he's a great attorney. But some of the things aren't as updated as they should be, and we just have to be very, very aware. And plus, it doesn't give state statutes, which, idea is idea. State statutes can be different, and you have to have knowledge of that. And so that's important as well. But that's enough for today, guys. That's enough. I'll give you more information as we go. I will be live Saturday. I don't know if I'm going to go. I'm definitely going to go live here on Sunday. But I'm thinking on Saturday, I'm going to go live on my group. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I may pop on tomorrow afternoon. Okay. I like just giving tips and tricks here and there as things just pop in my brain. So it may be me in the car where it just came to me. Okay. If I could message you guys when I was in the shower, I would do it just because things come to me in the shower. But I don't know how to do that and be, what's the word? Respectable. You know how things come to you in the darn shower? But yeah, I'm just kidding, guys. You'll get used to my sense of humor. You will, I promise. All right. So, yeah, I'm late. It was at 5 o'clock, so I got to go, guys. All right. I will talk to you later. PM me if you need anything. Go ahead and PM me, Jessica, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.